box. As he struggles with the straitjacket, the lid is put into place. Now his assistants chain it down and drill it shut. The box is rigged with explosives. He has less than a minute to get out. Again, the obligatory dancing. You'll notice that the assistants are all dressed exactly alike. There's a reason for this. We'll tell you why in a minute. What appears to be a stick of dynamite is attached to the box. The fuse is lit. The tension is mounting. Our magician has only a few seconds left to get out. Even though the audience knows this is only an illusion, it's still pretty convincing. For a second, you actually think it could be real. But you've been fooled. He's not only escaped from the straitjacket in the box, he's now in a different part of the warehouse. Here's how he did it. First for the straitjacket. As the magician is buckled into the straitjacket, he keeps his arms stiff and away from his body, giving him enough slack to eventually escape. Even using this technique, getting out of the straitjacket won't be easy. This part of the trick requires lots of practice. Let's take a look inside the box. As you can see, that extra slack is really coming in handy. Remember, timing is critical. Our magician has less than 60 seconds to remove the straitjacket and exit the box before it's lifted into the air and blown up. Now, remember when we told you about the assistants' outfits? Well, you're about to find out why they're all dressed alike. Inside the box, and now free from the straitjacket, our magician puts on a black jumpsuit that's been hidden inside. It's exactly the same as those worn by his assistants. Then he slips out a trapdoor at the back of the box. He puts on a matching cap, complete with long, fake hair. Now he's disguised as one of his assistants. This is where the dynamite comes in. It's not only used to create tension, but also to serve as a diversion, allowing our magician to sneak away. See him crouching down there? He runs up a flight of stairs and gets into position just before the explosion. When the smoke clears, he steps out of his hiding place and onto a nearby catwalk. Bet you didn't know that's how it's done.
Next, the secret of sawing a woman in half and how to make a 7,000-pound elephant disappear when magic's biggest secrets are finally revealed.
Before we continue, I must tell you that everyone working on this program has been sworn to secrecy. If our magician's identity is revealed, he may be blackballed from the magic community, and it could mean the end of his career. Let's go back inside. We've all seen this next trick. It's called the 3-cube box. As always, a little performance helps our magician make the illusion seem more spectacular than it really is. One of the assistants steps inside the box and the magician closes and locks the doors. For effect, he checks his blades to prove to the audience that they're solid. Then he hands his assistant a red handkerchief. This is to help sell the illusion. He feigns resistance, as if the blades are actually cutting into it. But we know that can't be happening because the assistant is still smiling, even though the blades appear to be passing right through her. Now for the second blade. Again, he pretends to be having a tough time pushing it through. She waves in order to show that those hands are really hers. The middle section of the box is slid apart. The hanky's moving. She's still alive. The magician gives you a look at all sides of the box. Then he waves his hand through the missing portion to prove that the trick isn't done with mirrors. It appears that her middle is gone. He pushes the box back into place. One at a time, the blades are removed. He unlocks the door, and our assistant gets out. All in one piece. To show you how this trick is done, we've removed the middle section of the box. You won't believe how simple this one is. First, our assistant steps into the box and our magician locks her inside. Then all she does is turn her body sideways and suck in her stomach. Now notice the blades. The handle is considerably wider than the blade itself, an important fact that is concealed by magicians. This creates the illusion that the blades are the same width as the box and are cutting into the assistant. But we can tell that she's really not in any danger. Now the second blade is inserted into the box. It slides right past her leg. When the magician moves the middle section across, we can see that our assistant's body never moves. Instead, the box moves around her. Take another look in slow motion. Another key to the trick is this vertical strip. Because it's black, it blends in perfectly with the black background, making it appear that the center box has moved further than it really has. Pretty simple, huh? The box is put back together, and the illusion is complete. Here's a trick that you can buy at any magic store. It's known as the linking rings. First, the magician shows you that the rings are solid. They sure look solid. Somehow he hooks two of them together. Then he magically separates them. Again, solid, yet together. He does the same trick again, only this time with 3 rings. He puts them together. Then he takes them apart. Do you know how he did it? Actually, you won't believe how simple it is. While our magician appears to be forcing the rings together, it's really just sleight of hand. See? There's a tiny gap in one of the rings, which he conceals in the palm of his hand. Since the hand is quicker than the eye, we need to watch in slow motion. Bet you didn't see that the first time, did you? Separating the rings simply requires more sleight of hand. Although it looks like the rings are still linked together, they were actually unhooked a moment earlier. Here's the move. And the rings are now apart. And that's the secret of linking rings. Now for a more complicated illusion, the masked magician will show you how the famous metamorphosis trick is done. He begins by pounding on a wooden crate to prove that the sides are solid. Definitely a real crate. Right on cue, there comes the assistant. She is put inside a large red bag, which is tied tightly at the top, making it seem like she can't get out. Now the bag is placed into the crate. The lid is put on and fastened down with ropes. Sometimes magicians will use chains or locks. It doesn't matter. It's all an illusion. To prove that the crate is solid enough to support his weight, the magician stands on top of it. Then the curtain is raised and he gets inside. The curtain goes down and he begins to flirt with his assistants. The curtain goes up again. More diversionary tactics. The curtain goes up for the last time. And magically the magician is turned into one of his assistants. Remember? She was the one inside the bag. Now it's time to open the crate. The ropes are untied. And who do you think is inside the bag? You got it. The masked magician. How did he do it? Like we told you, this one's pretty complicated. To help you understand, here's a better look. We saw the assistant being placed into a large red bag, which was tied at the top. What you didn't realize is the bottom of the bag has a zipper. She's unzipping it right now. Once the assistant gets out of the bag, she reaches through a hole in the bottom of the crate and pulls on the rope to make it seem as if the lid is tightly secured. It really isn't. The extra slack will later allow her to slide the lid off the crate and make a quick escape. See? When the curtain goes up for the first time, the assistant climbs out and hides between the curtain and the crate, while the magician puts one foot inside. The curtain goes up again, and in goes the other foot. As the curtain goes up for the third time, he quickly climbs inside and closes the lid, as his assistant is revealed on top of the crate. The timing has to be just right in order to look like an instant metamorphosis. Our magician scrambles to get inside the bag while his assistants rush to untie the ropes. He doesn't have to worry about zipping up the bag since his feet are obscured from view. And that's how it's done.
Coming up next, how to saw a woman in half and the secret behind making an elephant vanish right before your very eyes.
We've all seen a magician saw a woman in half. Now we're going to show you how it's done. The first thing you need is a willing assistant. Of course, it has to seem like she's not willing. After all, who wants to be sawed in half? The assistant is shackled at the neck and ankles. This is to make it look like she can't move. Special boxes are then put in place and strapped to the table. The doors are opened so we can see the assistant trapped inside. This is one of the things that makes this trick so effective. Finally, her hands are tied. She's not going anywhere. The doors are closed. Now, here comes the saw.